Rampage Jackson just had an emotional meltdown on Instagram.
This man who attempted to maim another man is walking around free right now.
And is getting rewarded by getting a booking.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane to me.
I don't think he'll make it to the...
Was Rampage Jackson ever arrested? What happened with this entire situation?
booking. I talked to a detective friend of mine, and he told me the process of everything and how bad they drag their feet. He said especially LAPD.
Mm-hmm.
But he's saying that because of all the evidence, the state's going to pick it up. I've already talked to a detective who's on the case, so it's not like he's not going to jail.
Okay.
But he's just not there yet.
All right, so I know that I've been a little inconsistent with my upload schedule lately, but I promise that I am locking in for the remainder of the year. Anyways, I don't consider myself an optimist, nor do I consider myself a pessimist.
Last time we checked in, Rampage Jackson put Psycho Stu in the hospital, and he has since woken up. He has several teeth knocked out, as well as some damage to his skull and jaw. But that's about it. That's all we know.
What I do consider myself, however, is a realist, and at this point I am feeling pretty confident that Raj is actually going to face the consequences of his actions now that this case has been escalated to California state authorities. And you don't have to tell me about California's sketchy legal system. I lived there for the first 26 years of my life. I have seen firsthand how ass backwards that state can be. But given how widespread this incident has become, I do get the feeling they're going to pursue legal action against him. However, the focus of this video is that just a couple of hours ago, Rampage himself just had a bit of a meltdown on Instagram where he went on a long...
So far, every single time this situation comes up, Rampage Jackson, the father, justifies it or downplays it. And I've seen some clips of Rampage Jackson talking about his son and his son's mother. It's just not a good look. It's not exactly a wholesome Chungus environment.
Rant about everything, which seriously contradicts some of the previous apologies he's made throughout the past week. He even straight up lies about a couple key details about this.
I just find it kind of odd, too, that this is a 48-year-old man live streaming with, like, 20-year-olds. Is that not a bit off?
Situation to the point where it feels pretty gross. A lot has been made about the excuses and deflections Rampage has been doing lately, but aside from that, there's been some pretty positive updates about all of this, and yeah, in this video, I'm going to be talking about all this and more. So right off the bat, just yesterday, Psycho Stu was released from the hospital, which is great. His wife posted to his Instagram on his behalf, where you can clearly see in the photo that Stu is missing some teeth on one side of his face. In the caption, she details the extent of his injuries, but ultimately keeps things positive by thanking people for the overwhelming support while he was in the hospital. No mention at all of Raja or Rampage though, but I'm assuming they've been told to not speak on the attack while the case is still being investigated. Regardless, this was a classy statement from Stu's wife, and even though she says that he has a long road to recovery, I'm glad that he can at least do it from the comfort of his home. On the other hand, someone who has not been carrying themselves with really any grace at all has been Rampage Jackson, because just about an hour ago from the time I'm writing...
Look at this crash out. This has gone too far. I'm sick of being quiet and letting all the low IQ people fall for clickbait. Yes, my son took things too far, and I'm pissed at him for being a piece of shit. The way he handled it. But if Psycho Stu wasn't drunk, it wouldn't have hit my son over the head with a real beer can while he was live streaming on his own stream. Then Knox wouldn't have felt like they had to make things right by letting Raja get his get back in the ring. If my son would have just went to the police when the beer can incident happened, then the whole event could have gotten shut down and he could have sued. But no. My son is not as smart as I'd like for him to be. Now my family and I are getting racist threats because of all the misinformation being posted so content creators can get paid from viewers. Chad, is he talking about us? People actually think my son just snuck in a ring in front of a live audience and picked Psycho Stu up without permission to be there? Get smart, people. It was staged. I mean, these performative exclamation points are doing some heavy lifting here. But Raja took it too far. He only shook his hand and accepted Psycho Stu's drunken apology because they said he could get him in the storyline. He was told he could, quote, fuck him up. I have witnesses that says this isn't the first time that Psycho Stu had done some drunk shit backstage to a fan. Now we have the backstory that my son attacked an innocent military vet with PTSD, like my son knew everything about the man that came up from behind him and hit him, then asked him to sell it. I have other kids to protect, and I don't take kindly to threats. I'm not scared of prison or dying for my kids. And calling me names won't hurt my feelings. My son should face the consequences for going too far. He knows better. That's why he didn't tell me anything about the storyline. But Psycho Stu is lucky I wasn't there when he hit my son over the head with a beer can the day after he got a concussion from sparring the day before. I wouldn't have cared if a bunch of pro wrestlers would have jumped me. I'm a father first. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Let's all learn a lesson. Keep your damn hands to yourself. If you get paid to do fake fighting, don't disrespect people that do that shit for real. Now I put myself in this shit. DM me now.
This, he took to Instagram and wrote a long-ass caption where you kind of get the vibe that he's having a Monday morning meltdown. I mean, even from the very first sentence, he's calling people that are angry at his son low IQ for falling for clickbait. Dog, there's nothing clickbait about this. Your son nearly killed a guy. At least he has some semblance of self-awareness and agrees that Raja took it too far and calls him a piece of shit for what he did. But in the very next breath, he then points the finger back at Stu by accusing him of being a drunk and saying that this is all his fault for hitting Raja with a real beer can, which from everything that I've been hearing from the wrestlers who were present, this is just not true. You can clearly see the water vapor from the prop can come out when Stu hits Raja, which really wouldn't be what would happen if it was a real can with real beer in it. Regardless, I have said from the very first video that I made on this topic that Stu should not have done what he did whether the can was real or not. I also do agree with Rampage that if it weren't for this misunderstanding, then KnockX Pro wouldn't have felt the need to incorporate Raja into the show, but they shouldn't have brought him into the ring regardless. It was too much of a liability. Then Rampage says that Raja should have just gone to the police immediately.
I mean, if you're not a wrestler, you shouldn't be in the ring, period. Just seems like the smart maneuver. Way too many variables. Safety precautions. So much more shit could go wrong than it could go right. For the sake of the story. Maybe I'm just not a wrestling fan. I don't really get it.
And then says that his son is not as smart as I'd like for him to be, which, hey, he's right about that. He goes on to say that he and his family are receiving racist threats because of the misinformation being posted so content creators can get paid from viewers. But what misinformation is he talking about? Everything is on video. We have all seen what happened from start to finish. And in regards to his next point where he says that people actually think Raja snuck into the ring without any permission, I haven't seen a single soul make that claim throughout the hundreds of opinions I've read on the story so far. Nobody is saying that he randomly stormed into the ring. The fact that this was an agreed upon stunt, which
This is what I don't understand. Like, if he's not a wrestler, why is he even there? Then he gets to do wrestling shit like payback and receipts in the ring. Okay, so he is a wrestler now? Yeah, there's just no through line. There's no consistency. I mean, also it was premeditated, and he got one shot by his own chat. Grown-ass man, by the way, 25 years old. His chat basically convinced him to react with violence.
Then unexpectedly resulted in Raja nearly murdering Stu is the fundamental thesis of the situation. We have eyes, we have ears, we literally see Stu and Raja agree
And I mean, this is a sacred handshake, man to man.
to stage the event. No one is mad at Raja for getting into the ring. We are mad at Raja for the 22 punches that he threw at an unconscious body. Telling us to get smart. How about you get smart? Now this next part is interesting because not only does Rampage double down on the claim that Stu was drunk when all of this went down, but according to witnesses, he also claims that this is not the first time that Stu has done something dumb backstage with a fan, whatever that means. Listen, I'm not going to blindly defend Stu because who knows, he might have been drunk when he hit Raja, and it might be true that Stu's done stupid stuff like this in the past, who can really say? But I will say that I think it's interesting that Rampage is only pulling these cards now more than a week after all of this went down, and I will also say that I think it's very interesting how he's changing his tune on Psycho Stu just a couple of days after he said this on live stream.
Hopefully one day I can meet Psycho Stu and shake his hand and have a man-to-man with him and stuff like that, but who knows. But
And say what? I'm sorry my son almost murdered you? The premeditated part is by far the most concerning. If they'd smacked down right when the beer can incident happened, that's one thing. The premeditation moves it up a couple notches on the psychopathy scale. Yeah, think about that. An immediate reaction is a whole different ball game. And an apology after. You could chalk that up to a reaction, self-defense. But the fact that it happened, they acknowledged that it happened, he apologized for it, and then for what I initially thought was 30 minutes, but apparently it was like 5 hours later, it was just stewing in his mind, and he was building up this pent-up aggression and then just unleashed on the poor man.
y'all, the people that know me, y'all know me. Y'all know I got mad love for everybody.
So what is it? Do you want to shake Stu's hand and have a man-to-man with him, or is he a belligerent drunk that has a history of inappropriate behavior with fans? Don't get me wrong, Rampage can feel sorry.
Somebody put it well, Rampage is immature, Raja is insecure. It's just insane to me that this is a 48-year-old man and a 25-year-old man.
Sorry for the actions of his son while also calling Stu's character into question, but his statements feel pretty contradictory. Either take the high road or don't, because bouncing back and forth makes me feel like he's saying whatever he can to deflect the blame off of Raja, and as a result, I'm questioning how sincere hypocrisy or anything he's saying actually is. Okay, let's get back to the temper tantrum. Here's Rampage saying that it's unfair of people to think that Raja knew of Stu being a military vet and for whatever reason singled him out because of this. Not gonna lie, at least on this specific aspect of the story, I actually agree with Rampage here.
I agree. It's self-explanatory. There's no way you would have known that. People often like to add context to amplify stories.
The fact that Stu is a veteran who suffers from PTSD adds another layer to the story, and it does make it look worse for sure, but it's not like Raja knowingly targeted Stu because of his background. But in the very same sentence, Rampage goes right back to being a delusional idiot by saying that Stu came up from behind Raja and hit him, which is so far from the truth it's insane. Like, does he not realize that this was all captured on video? Because how the fuck is this Stu coming up from—
So that's an empty beer can. And people are saying it's a prop because like water vapor sprays out. If that were full, it wouldn't get crushed. And I assume it would have hurt a lot more. This guy's laughing over here. He clearly knows that it's a prop.
behind. This next part is fucking rich because immediately after defending Raja by saying he didn't know Stu was a war veteran, Rampage then calls out Stu for hitting Raja the day after he got a concussion from sparring.
And he wouldn't have known that either. These are huge what ifs. You're expecting Psycho Stu to watch Rampage Jackson on kick.com and break down his sparring sessions and be like, oh yeah, he got a concussion. Let me hit him over the head. He's smashing the beer can in his hand. Yeah, I'm sure it probably didn't even hurt, but it's more so about the humiliation factor if you have an ego.
Anybody else seeing the issue here? Rampage, buddy, Stu didn't know that Raja had a concussion. I understand that Rampage is trying to defend his son while also trying to paint Stu as a questionable guy, but you can't pretend like he's supposed to know what happened to Raja during his sparring rounds. Like, what the fuck? And then Rampage ends his caption by having another tough guy moment. I do agree with him when he says that people should keep their hands to themselves, though. Yeah, man, there's so many contradictory, misleading, or just outright deceitful parts of Rampage's—
It seems like Rampage Jackson, and I don't really blame him for this because he's in a shit situation, is trying to like dip his toes into the general consensus of how people feel about the situation while also trying to protect his son in any way that he can. So it's coming off as like this push-pull contradictory vibe.
Posts that kind of fall apart immediately if you've seen the full sequence of events. Like, he says that Raja should have just called the cops, but then he says that Stu was lucky that Rampage wasn't there, implying he also would have gotten violent. It's weird. The entire tone of the caption comes off as pretty aggressive as well, which I really don't think is the best way to go about it considering there's still an ongoing investigation. Like, he has to know that the detectives or prosecutors looking into this case are going to see this, but then again, Rampage has never really shown much of an ability to think things through. Somebody commented on his post saying that Raja should go to prison, and Rampage responded with facts, so I'm really not even sure what the purpose of this caption was for other than to farm clicks and impressions, which is something that Rampage criticized other content creators for in this very
Imagine farming your own son. Nah, he's got to go to prison.
caption. On that note, I think it's pretty hilarious how Rampage is talking down to people who make content for money when he literally makes most of his income these days through making content for money. He has a big podcast along with a Kick live stream. The guy's a bigger content creator than like 98% of people on the internet. This is the same guy that apologized to Kick the very same night that Raja attacked Stu. He is for sure trying to protect his bag. Oh, these content creators are trying to milk the situation to make money. Anyways, let me just go live less than 48 hours after the incident and pull the biggest numbers that my stream has ever done. You cannot tell me that this guy didn't know exactly what he was doing when he went live so soon after his son attacked Stu. And hey, I get it, never let a good controversy go to waste. But don't put up this front that you hate how content creators are benefiting off of your son being a lunatic.
It's just an icky situation all around, and I just can't get over the fact that he's 48, concerning himself with a childlike audience. Is that not strange? Farming your son's crimes? Raja just seems like an entitled little shit that's got whatever he wants. The moment someone does something that hurts his ego, he beats the shit out of them. Pretty pathetic. Would he have reacted the same way if Sean Strickland and it was not some washed up vet? That's a good question. A 48-year-old man should not be streaming. So true. Now, I'll probably stream when I'm 48, in all honesty. But at least I have the sophistication to know not to literally stream with a bunch of like teenagers. At least my son won't crash out and probably cost me millions of dollars and wind up in jail. Yeah, what if John Jones smashed beer cans on his head? Something tells me he would have not reacted the way that he did.
When you're doing the exact same thing. Even going back to the apology on his live stream, I think he said all the right things, but the fact that he did it live from a bowling alley with a bunch of random girls around him kind of makes the whole thing feel hollow.
I'm on stream. I was up top 5. What's up, homie?
Your son is is a monster. What
Yo, hey, watch your mouth, watch your mouth, bro. Watch your mouth. Chill.
Yo, Rampage, you're a monster.
Yo, hey. Wait.
I'll knock you out right
Yeah, when I'm 48, I'll be streaming from my bunker in my compound on my island. There will be no other humans nearby other than members of Third Eye Global.
Yo.
What the fuck? Who the fuck is this motherfucker?
Nah, top 5, yo. Come on, bro. Nah, I'm hanging up. Nah.
Who the fuck is that motherfucker right now?
L top 5, bro.
Who the fuck is
Why is he talking?
Who is Rampage? He's like a
bro.
Houston night and girls.
Hey, respectfully, shut the fuck up. I'm a dad. Respectfully, shut the fuck up. I'm getting a lot of racist threats and shit, nigga. Motherfucker talking about killing me and my whole family, nigga. Drop the shit.
I always knew that Rampage liked to pretend to be a clown, but I really never expected him
It's just a weird pivot. UFC champion to lol cow.
to pretend to be a victim, because the irony of him saying that he doesn't care that people call him names or that he doesn't care what people think of him, only to write an essay on Instagram speaks
Maybe there's a lesson in there.
to how much the insults actually do get to him. And to be fair to Rampage, I do not blame him for the actions of his son, because I think Lucas Tracy said it best in that regardless of how good or bad your parents are, you either have the ability to know right from wrong or you don't.
And also the parenting shit. There's a lot of people with bad parents. There's a lot of people with terrible upbringings that don't do shit like this. There's a lot of people with horrific upbringings, terrible upbringings, parents that are horrible in many different ways that don't do shit like this. And what I'm getting at is I think
I just can't get over the fact that this was streamed in 4K Dolby Digital. Why would you ever think this is a good idea, number one? Number two, like, you admitted your crimes on camera. You actually laid out the felonies that you were about to commit before you did them. What?
people are just destined to have the lack of an ability to control their emotions and impulses. I think that there's something that you either have it or you don't.
Given from the clips that I've seen, Rampage is kind of a dick to Raja, but that's still no excuse for what he did. And after reading...
That's what I was referencing in the beginning of this clip. There are some videos out there of him saying some absolutely heinous shit, and I get maybe he's playing it up for the stream, but...
Rampage's caption, it's times like these where I think the best advice to give someone is sometimes it's best to shut the fuck up and not say anything because you're only making it worse for you.
All this is so gooner coded too. It's like, why are you hanging out with a bunch of thoughts that are like 20 years your minor? And then like getting in bar fights. Like, the only people who watch this unironically grew up on an iPad.
And those around you. There is absolutely no reason for Rampage to have even posted this, and the factual inaccuracies make it so much worse. And I don't know if this was supposed to be damage control or just a bizarre way to stay in the headlines, but I think a post like this does much more harm than good for both him and Raja. Anyways, that is the video for today. Definitely let me know what you think about Rampage's post. What do you think was even the purpose of him making this? As always, if you like the video, then like the video.
Like, this guy's 48! What the fuck? This girl's probably 22. What is going on here?
And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Truth. Fuck you. For those that are offended at the fact that I just told the truth.
He never grew up. Peter Pan syndrome, CTE. Lesson in there.
Fuck you. Because now my fucking life is ruined over your lies. So fuck you.
Before you tell your story, before we went live, you were talking. I mean, if you're okay talking about it, just how this is.
What's going on that this 48-year-old is pulling more than I am? I don't know, UFC champion maybe, multi-millionaire perhaps.
And how this has impacted your life, your personal life.
I got a call from my fucking job. We saw the TMZ video. You're an accessory to an attempted murder. We gotta let you go.
An accessory to an attempted murder.
I can't fucking wrestle anymore.
Should I feel bad? I'm pretty sure that was the guy that told him he could get his receipt. I could be wrong. I don't really recognize these people. I'm right. I mean, that's a rough situation too, because I don't think he was expecting him to do all that. Sheesh. I mean, let this be a lesson. The only streamer you should be watching on Kick.com is Philion. I don't make the rules.